Loading program, Trekommendations.
Hello and welcome to Trekommendations, a Star Trek podcast that seeks out hidden gems from the world of Star Trek with the help of a wonderful guest. This week, joining us from the Cargo Bay, the place to go for curated sci-fi collectibles, it's the editor of Trek Central, Captain Jack.
Hey, Jason, thank you for having me on the podcast. It's great to be here.
Well, thank you for coming on. It's always nice to have someone with a very recognizable voice on.
Thank you.
So anyone that's just listening to the audio, they'll be like sort of twitching now, going, oh, okay, we know this. I mean, we should probably, well, first I'll do a little call to action for everybody. If you can, like, flood the emails at trekommendations@gmail.com with anything for the incoming transmissions portions. You know, I like to bank these shows, and the inbox gets a little empty at times. And, you know, we're new, we're trying to bump ourselves up that ever challenging algorithm that we all fight. So anything you can do to help with that, that's great. Before we calibrate you, Jack, which is a very important thing to do on this show, I've mentioned you're from the Cargo Bay, and then we've mentioned Trek Central. One of these is far larger than the other, so maybe
Indeed.
just quickly, if people are going, "What are you talking about?" What is the Cargo Bay?
Of course, yeah. So obviously people may know us from Trek Central. It's one of the leading Star Trek sites around, and we love to bring people the latest news, reviews, explainers. The Cargo Bay is a brand new venture for 2026, arguably fitting for Star Trek's 60th anniversary. It's all about bringing fantastic Star Trek merchandise to people here in the UK and eventually Europe as well. It's been a mission I'm really, really keen on, mainly because we see fantastic merchandise for Star Trek fans, typically in the United States, and those of us who are overseas really struggle to getting it unless we want to either beam it over, which is sadly impossible, or pay, massive shipping and import fees and taxes. And with the way the world currently is, it's also more expensive to get these things as well. So we established the Cargo Bay to basically ensure Star Trek fans and other sci-fi fans of Star Wars, Stargate, I guess, and Battlestar can also get their hands on fantastic merchandise for good quality pricing as well. Like, we're not trying to rip people off at all. It is a case of, like, let's try and get the best price and make it affordable for fans no matter where they are, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, as someone living in the UK, I appreciate that, because yeah, there's nothing worse than like finding something, especially, I mean, when you're paying like hundreds and hundreds of pounds or dollars or whatever for something, and then you've got, like, you know, the import fee or whatever, you're like, oh yeah, okay, fair enough. But when it's something small and you're like, I am literally paying the packaging, it's the same price as the thing itself, like, and this isn't worth
Sure.
double the price. It's a
No, I
real
totally
struggle.
agree. And it's one of the things that made us realize that, we really need to help out the community in this sense. And that's why we established Cargo Bay, is to ultimately help the community. It's the same way and same reason why we established Trek Central, is to help the Star Trek community, their love of Star Trek. So with the Cargo Bay, we saw some items, the shipping and the taxes and the import was more than the actual product. And like you just said there, when you're buying something $100 or $200, like I sometimes buy stuff from Europe, and then it's like a £20 shipping or import fee. But if you're spending £160, €160, £20 at that point, it's not really a big stretch. But if you're buying, say, an action figure, and then it's more than the actual figure, you're basically paying more for the packaging. And so it's like, not a fan of that, really.
Yeah, and that's why people keep things in the box.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
I paid so much for the packaging, I'm going to keep the packaging intact.
And
Excellent.
sometimes packaging looks amazing as well, so you have to keep it.
It does look nice. I've got sort of a shelf over to the side here, and there's like a load of figures that I created, and then there's just all their boxes, like packaged up at the top as well. Wonderful. You've got a nice little collection behind you, but I won't get
Thank you.
distracted. I won't
It's
get distracted.
growing.
Well, I bet it is now.
Oh, yeah.
That must be nice.
That's
Right.
one of the difficult things. You run the Cargo Bay, I'm like, I see all this fantastic merch we're getting. And I'm like, well, I kind of want this myself. So I have to resist having one of everything because I'd have no space.
Yeah. I mean, that's the good thing about having a Cargo Bay. It's just
Exactly.
somewhere to store it all.
Keeps expanding.
Okay, well, let's move into some calibration questions.
Far away.
Calibrating.
Captain Jack, this is the question I ask everyone when they first come on the show, and that is your favorite Star Trek show.
No hesitation, Star Trek Enterprise, which might be a controversial answer, but I absolutely love Enterprise.
I feel like, and again, what do I know? But I feel like it's a less controversial answer than it used to be.
No, I totally agree. Actually, I think when Enterprise first came about, it was not the best received, I think, but it started like growing on more and more people as the years passed, which is scary to say. But it's true. I think like even people are coming around to the theme now. I actually like the theme. That's a controversial one. I really like Enterprise's theme. Some people still don't. So
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember having a massive issue with it when it dropped. Like it was different, but as people that listen to this, I'm not a music guy. I'm an audio talking kind of person. So whether it was, the classic Trek themes or somebody singing, I was kind of indifferent. I was more interested in like, let's get into the story, let's see what the episode's got in
the
itself.
story
But
was so good.
and particular, I mean, I'll ask you this because I know, for the majority of people, I think if you say about Enterprise, they'll go yes, and definitely seasons 3 and 4. Like that's when it really got good. But a lot of those are like really kind of somebody saying that Enterprise is their favorite show. I feel they're quite strong defenders of season 1 and 2 as well. And there are certain plot lines that kind of disappeared and got dropped that they would quite like to have seen a fulfillment to. Where do
Yeah,
you
I
sort of sit in that
actually
scale?
Yeah, I like the first season. I like all the seasons of Enterprise. I do think season 3 of this indie arc it dragged a little bit. There were certain bits where I was like, "All right, come on, like we're trying to save the world here, literally. Hurry up." But no, season 1 and season 2, I liked those early episodes. It was very much into the final frontier for the first proper time as well, and like seeing humanity adapt to that. And then I think when you look at Enterprise from a wider angle, you're seeing all these early steps to what makes life easy for the likes of the Enterprise D and E and F and such when we get to the 24th and 25th century. So it's really cool seeing that, like, I guess, parallel in a sense. And I love those early seasons, particularly meeting the Andorians, the conflict between the Vulcans, stuff like that. Even the early, the Temple War, the Shadow Man,
Mm.
I love those sort of plot lines as well. And the Suliban, really, really cool. And just the way it sort of like introduced certain different species and such, I thought was really cool. One of my favorite episodes, and I'm going to struggle to remember the episode of it. I think it might be called like Fallen Hero or something like that. It's about the Vulcan ambassador who is like, she's apparently messed something up, and the Enterprise has to go and rescue her. And then they're chased by the local aliens. And it's like, well, it's called a Warp 5 engine on paper. I just love the whole scene because it's the first time they take the NX-01 to Warp 5. It only lasts about 10 seconds, but it's still a really cool sequence. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I do think you're right. There is a lot going for it, and I also think it's probably only like in retrospect people look back and are like, oh, limit. Now I think we know putting limitations on things is really good. It helps to create better stories. So when you can't just beam out of every situation or disability, and if anything, and I don't want to hate on New Trek at all, but if anything, that's one of my sort of issues with the 32nd century is just when technology becomes magic
Yeah,
to such a point, it's just such an easy get out of jail free card often. Whereas you go back to like Enterprise, and you're like, oh, even the things we used to be able to do, we can't do.
I
So
love that. And like they had to bend a little bit of a rule sometimes, of like the technology used in Enterprise. Because I think they had like holographic stuff. I'm like, well, it's early prototype things because you didn't really
yeah,
have much of that in the Kirk era. So yeah, there's bits and pieces there, but I'm like, well, you kind of have to have some sort of visual creativity to a degree
yeah,
to make it believable as sci-fi.
yeah, and I'm very forgiving of like you can't film a show today and deliberately make it look like it was filmed in the 60s. Like you
Yeah.
just can't, like no network is going to approve that ever. So you have, so I don't really have an issue when we update the design of aliens, too much or we just modernize things for a new audience. I think that's fine. I think guys, you got to relax a little bit. And I love the Andorians. So, getting a
That's yeah,
series
the
that had
Jeffrey
such a
Coombs as
focus on them.
Shran. Oh,
Oh, he's
like
amazing. I've got like a stupid app that is like productivity app, but it's kind of almost like a Tamagotchi type thing as well. It's like you've got a
nice.
little thing and you have to pick a color. So mine was blue. So it is called Shran. That is
I love that.
so yes. What's it called? Finch. If anybody needs a productivity app, that's what it's called. They're not sponsoring the show, but hey, maybe one day. Okay, good answer. I like it. I wasn't expecting it as well, but great answer. So we've talked about collectibles in your role at the cargo bay. Is there a collectible that you just wish they would make? Or is there one that you've seen that you wish you could get, but has maybe always been out of reach?
I think there has been some collectibles I would absolutely love. I think a company called Uconic made this, and we may have some on the cargo bit at some point in the future. But they made like it was like O'Brien's toolkit, I believe. So from DS9, when he was carrying around his like little weird
Yeah.
briefcase of like all his tools. I'm not sure if you can still get them. Stay tuned. We might be able to have them on the cargo bay. It looked really, really cool. I'm like, I can't think of a practical use to have one. It would just be cool to have because I'd love to have like down by the side here. I've got like a drill bit set because sometimes I need to drill holes in this house. So I was like, if I could put them all in that box instead, that'd be really fun because it's got like the grey Starfleet thing, the usual like a coup de grace sticker on it as well. Would love that. There's also like tons of other collectibles I think could be fantastic. I've got a million Starship models around this office. I could always do with more. Yeah, like I don't know if there's a dream sort of one.
Mm.
That's a tough one. I might have to come back to you on that.
I do think the O'Brien toolkit would be like, sometimes you see. It's funny. We went to a Comic Con not that long ago, all the family, and there was a cosplay competition, and we signed the kids up for it. And when we were signing the kids up, they were really saying like, "Well, you should do it too. You should do it." And I was just in like a Strange New World uniform, and I kind of felt like that's not really. I've not done anything to justify. Like I've put on a shirt. Like that doesn't merit me going up there. Whereas my daughter had like cobbled together a lab coat and a this and a that, and she'd done this Pokemon cosplay. She actually won. My wife didn't want to sign her up, and then she actually won the little kids division sort of thing. So it was nice. But sometimes you see a cosplay, and then there'll be like a little something they've added to it that you're like, oh, that has just elevated this. And I feel the toolkit would be that kind of like you see a lot of people in the kind of DS9 uniforms or the Voyager uniforms of, or I guess depending on which era, the grey or the black and gold. But having sleeves rolled up and the toolkit would just,
Yes.
I mean, it would.
You've just made me think as well. We see it in Star Trek quite a lot. I think we see it in Next Gen or just for 24th century. It's like the Starfleet luggage people carry around.
Oh,
it's like a sort of hexagon sort of thing and a cylindrical thing. One of the Nacelle figures has it. Like I think it's the Tuvix figure has it. It's like the over the arm sort of sling thing. You're carrying it. It looks amazing. I wish someone would make that like official Star Trek things. But on that note as well, you spoke about cosplay there. I do wish there was official Star Trek cosplay we could buy at good prices and things like that. Because currently, if you want Star Trek cosplay or stuff that looks like Star Trek cosplay, I should say for legal stance, there's other sites you go to which definitely aren't licensed. That's not a problem for the consumer, but I'm like, Paramount, you've got something there. People want the Star Trek like cosplay. People want to dress up as Picard, Riker, Anson Mount Pike. Why can't we make this more easily accessible? Like that would be fantastic if people were able to do Star Trek cosplay a lot easier. Even com badges and such, like stuff like that would be great. Like, why is this not on the official Star Trek store? I could go on for ages about how Star Trek merchandise is a bit hit and miss. Like, thankfully, I should say, even though Paramount themselves aren't doing it, we do have 101 fantastic licensees who are making official merchandise and cosplay and associated bits, which look amazing.
Yeah, I think it is funny because it does just feel like they're leaving money on the table. And then we complain about, well, episodes are so expensive now and it costs so much to make and that's why we can't do it. And you're like, well, and I had Megan on a few weeks ago, and I think for her, like the dream would be to be able to get the Monster Maroon uniform designed for a woman. Because she's like, even if you find them, they're not designed for a woman, they're designed for a man and they don't fit well. And you're thinking, yeah, you've got the rights to do it perfectly. Why not? You clean up. Speaking of collectible, I have maybe I've got it in my drawer here now. Yeah. So I have a Terran badge.
Nice.
And when I'm recording these podcasts, I quite often just will fiddle with stuff on my desk, and that's one of the things. And I was recording an episode a few months ago and I dropped it and it landed on the floor, and I'm like, well, I can't get it during the thing. It was missing for months. I could not find it. And I pulled out my desk and I pulled out the drawers and I looked under everything. And then it was recently our wedding anniversary, and I got this brand new chair that my wife kindly bought for me. And when I was taking out the old chair to put it in the car to take down to the tip, like the metal bit that connect the kind of the piston that connects to the wheels, it had bounced up and magnetically connected to the bottom of the chair.
That's quite funny.
I never would have found that if it wasn't that I was literally shoving it into the back of the car. So there you go. But now that I've got that back, talking of cosplay, I'll do that mirror universe idea that I had eventually. Now that I've actually got, I was gonna do it, and then I lost the badge, and I was so angry, and I was
I've
like,
seen some fantastic like Mirror Universe cosplay in my long time doing like
Yeah.
Star Trek conventions. Like next week we're doing MCM and Comic Con in London. Hopefully we'll see some Star Trek cosplay there. One of my favorite all time cosplays is someone doing like the Janeway. I think it's like the vest sort of thing, the rolled up sleeves, big compression rifle. Love that one. Like, there's so many talented Star Trek fans out there of great cosplay, and when we see these events like Star Trek Las Vegas, New York Comic Con, it's amazing. I do wish we had a really nice event here in the UK for more Star Trek cosplay. Maybe that's another idea for the future. So,
yeah. Cargo Bay Point 2. That'll be.
oh yeah,
Yeah. I mean, the Cargo Bay would be a good name for an event as well, though.
it would be. Yeah,
Just rent a big, warehouse or something and just.
I've just
have
thought of
everyone
another
come there.
idea, but I'll keep it to myself for a
Okay,
minute.
yeah.
You've given me an
spoilers.
idea.
Okay, well, I want like 5% credit for it, whatever it is, if it's good. You've mentioned ships, and you've mentioned that you have probably a ridiculous number of ships, collectibles. I know every now and again my feed will pop up with Trek Central telling me about another type of ship and what it is. So this is probably going to be a tough question for you, but or maybe it's the opposite and it will be the easiest question you've ever been asked. Your favorite ship?
Odyssey class Enterprise F.
Yeah, see, I knew it was going to be an easy question. So what is it?
Got like a model somewhere behind me. I think there's a big one here next to the mast. There you go.
Oh,
which
right,
is
yeah.
Van Holmes Odyssey class. So we see the Odyssey class. It does appear in Star Trek Picard season 3 for all of like 20 seconds before I break it. However, it's primarily introduced in Star Trek Online. So the free to play MMO, STO is fantastic, and it's not a sponsored post, but if people haven't played it, go and play it. It's a great game. It's aged a bit now, but it's still a great way to experience kind of all eras of the Star Trek universe. And the Enterprise F was made as the next Enterprise for the game. And I love it. I've always loved it because it's the natural progression of the Enterprise E, and it just looks amazing.
Okay, it's a good answer, and there's lots of little extra details in there as well. So I appreciate that. Lovely. Okay, Jack, we need to go to Red Alert. So, Captain Jack, please, in 60 seconds or less, could you tell us what is your Trekommendation and why you've brought it to the show?
Course, far away. Right. So my recommendation has to be the brand new Nacelle Star Trek figures as one of the best collectibles we've seen in modern times. I've actually got one here. It's Captain Edward Jellicoe. He looks fantastic. And the entire Wave 1 figure line has been designed with so much passion, I think. So much passion. That's my recommendation. It's very special to me because we've got a premium Star Trek figure line available for the 60th anniversary. It's on the cargo bay. People can go and get Wave 1. I think others will enjoy it as its characters we've not really had a massive amount of before, like Captain Garrett, Tuvix, Captain Sulu in his Undiscovered Country uniform. And I really personally enjoy it because I love the attention to detail the Nacelle company have played, particularly Brian Volkweiss, the CEO. Love Brian, he's amazing. It's a very big passion project by fans, for fans. It resonates with me because the Cargo Bay is by fans, for fans, same as Trek Central.
Perfect.
3 seconds to spare.
There you go. Nice. Good job. This is a great recommendation. I also love the figure that you grabbed was Jellicoe. When I went on Trek Culture, my hot take was that Jellicoe was right and that he was a good captain and that Riker was a bad first officer in that situation and that Riker didn't have all the facts. And so, he shouldn't have been second guessing what Jellicoe was doing, and he'd been brought in specifically because of the situation. And so I'm a Jellicoe defender in that. Since then, I've seen him pop up in other media, and he's always kind of portrayed even worse because of
Talk about stereotyping, right?
because of how he was perceived. But at least in that instance, I think and actually that was then when we first heard about Discovery. And it was this idea we were going to follow the first officer. And this was before we really knew anything proper about what Discovery is going to be. I kind of had flashbacks to Riker Jellicoe and thinking, oh, that could be a really interesting concept where you've got, I don't necessarily agree with what the captain's doing, but it's my job to fulfill that. instead, it was mutiny. So okay, it didn't go the way I expected, but that's that's absolutely fine. Okay, obviously you're a collector. You're a collector,
Of course.
so it makes sense that you're pulling out the nacelle figures. I know Ed Pug is a fan of the show. I like to assume a friend of the show. I will say, big fan of nacelle as well. So you kind of mentioned it there in your 60 seconds, but what is it about nacelle, or what are they doing then that is so right?
I think one of the key things is it's listening to the Star Trek community. And I'm not saying others don't do this, because a lot of people do. But Brian and the Nacelle Company were very clear from day one that they wanted people to give feedback about what figures they wanted to see. We already knew Wave 1 was kind of locked in, I think, before we took it, but they've always had this email basically where people can write in, tell them the figures they want. And I believe it's been stated that Wayun, who I've got around here somewhere, wasn't on the first wave list. But because so many people requested him, he got bumped up to wave 1. That's why we now physically have him, which is amazing. So I really love that. I love it when not just businesses, but channels, communities, just listening to other people. Star Trek fans are very passionate. More people should listen, I think.
Yeah. Well, I suppose if you're, I mean, it feels like it makes sense, because they're the people you want to buy your stuff,
Exactly.
or watch your stuff, or play your game, or whatever it may be. And it sort of feels like it's almost like you're doing market research, but that market research is also then directly the consumer, and they will just go out and buy the thing. Is there a figure that you've requested, that like one that maybe hasn't made the list yet, but you're hoping
Yeah.
wave 3 or 4 will come along?
There's a couple. I would love a Garak figure. I think Garak's amazing.
I feel like that's inevitable. I definitely feel like that's coming.
Cross fingers.
Yeah.
I think it would fit well together Wayun. And I'd love an Archer in the Enterprise uniform. We've got Mirror Universe Archer, but we need like the NX-01 Archer.
Oh, I'm going to flash back to this for a second then, knowing that Enterprise is your favorite show, because I've had another guest who told me that like they love Enterprise, but they just don't think that Archer is a good captain. And I'm curious on your take on that,
I think he is a good captain. I think it's a difficult one, because like he had to make a lot of decisions. There was no one else to rely on in like 24th century. Picard can call up Starfleet Command. There can be a fleet support and things like that. Obviously, a bit of an exception with Janeway, but Cisco could do the same thing. Whereas Archer, for a while before Columbia, they were the only Starfleet ship out and about. The home fleet was there, the Intrepid and things like that, but Archer was the only one actually out there in the final frontier. And I think one of my favorite bits of Enterprise, I think, is a discussion of Dr. Flock. So John Billingsley, fantastic actor. I think it's when they discuss basically the Proto-Prime Directive. So it's making a decision before obviously the Prime Directive is a thing. And I think they're stood in like the mess hall overlooking it, and Archer's got to decide whether they interfere or let the planet play its natural thing. And like Phlox is giving his 2 cents and such. I think Scott Bakula's Archer displayed like a range of things the captain had to deal with. One of my other favorite moments is when basically they attack the ship to steal its warp coils, I believe, so they can keep fighting with Zindi. And like Archer's like, I've got no choice, like I have to do this. And like that's quite a moral sort of line cross there. I think there's another bit before they do that where he's again talking to Phlox, who's kind of like, the doctor and also the Chancellor as well. And he's like, oh, there's going to be casualties. And like, it's such like an interesting episode, I think. And like, there's so many Archer moments where he's sort of like torn between a lot of things there. It's why I love the idea of that Star Trek United show that keeps getting thrown about at a minute.
I was going to ask if you had thoughts on that.
I do have a lot of thoughts on it. I'm a big fan of Star Wars. Might be obvious from behind here, but like I love Andor, the political and early rebellion show. I'm not sure if you've watched it, but like it's easily some of the best sci-fi storytelling in probably the last 20 years. If we had a Star Trek version of that, beautiful. Could we do it? I'm not sure. I like the idea of it. I think Scott Bakula would be great to come back to Trek. This sort of building a federation could be a really cool idea.
Yeah, I kind of see. It's interesting because there's a lot of I suppose within the Star Trek sphere, there's a lot of talk of like, modern Trek, it's less episodes and there's no time for kind of meandering between things. It's cut to action scene, action scene, action scene kind of thing, and it's very much like, well, that's modern television, and we just have to deal with that's modern television. And then I look at other shows that I think get a lot of love, and particularly whenever there is like a political intrigue, or or different kingdoms, or different whatever it may be. I was thinking, we watched recently the Dune prequel series, like that's
Mm,
similar thing. There's a lot of talking,
yeah.
and a lot of maneuvering things behind the scenes and power plays. And then you think of like you know elements of, I guess, Game of Thrones or shows like that. Wherever you've kind of got people in power and
Yeah.
rival nations or rival things, and people enjoy that. So I don't see why you couldn't merge those things and do
I
a
think Star Trek's a perfect platform for something like this.
yeah.
Like, it is a very political show. Whether people want to admit that or not, Star Trek is political. It
Mm.
always has been. It always will be. I think it's a great platform to explore something like that. And there's no reason why Trek can't explore that more political lean show. Like Star Wars has done it, and Star Wars was for a while about wizards in space with lightsabers. So if it can explore a heavy political, dramatic show about the oppression of people and things like that, so can
Yeah.
Trek.
Yeah. And I think going back to Enterprise and Archer, I like to think that maybe generally when we talk about the Prime Directive, it's an obstacle in the way. Like, it quite often comes up as, "Oh, I would do this, but it's the Prime Directive, and we've got no choice." And you don't, that's almost a convenient excuse. Like, I don't
Mm,
need to maybe this isn't the right decision, but my hands are tied. It's the Prime Directive, or maybe it's so extreme I'm going to break the Prime Directive. But when you're the one like making that call, I mean, like, people, like, the crew might not agree with what I've done, but they can't say that it's not by the book.
yeah.
Like, they might think I should have broken the book, and I might think I would like to keep my job as captain. but but when there is no book, and you're like, well, I think we can't do this, and then you've got a crew of people that maybe disagree.
Mm.
That's a lot of pressure. And
It
you've got
is interesting.
mm,
I would say with the United idea, and what's popped in my head, I'm not sure where they'd base it, but like one of the big events they'd have to deal with, or at least mention, is the Earth Romulan War. It's one of my favorite ideas for Enterprise, and I've studied it a lot, in like games and fan media and such, in the books. Um, how United handles that would be interesting, because as far as I know, the idea behind it is it follows President Archer,
yeah,
in which case it would be a couple of years after the Romulan War. So it would have to be dealt with.
yeah.
And
I
for
mean,
years, people have been requesting something about the Romulan War. So
yeah. I mean, I hate the fact that Romulus was destroyed, and that and everything that
yeah,
happened with that. So going back to kind of
bit of
peak
redemption.
Romulans, I'd be more than happy to explore that. Okay. Uh, would there be any other, seeing as Enterprise is your favorite? Would there be any kind of niche characters from Enterprise that you're thinking, they should probably get a figure? Like, they definitely deserve one. Because I like the idea that we can that you can, enough fans can request and get these characters. Because I think that's the difference between, as you were saying, like listening to fans,
Mm.
or some CEO in a boardroom who does a quick Google search and is like, well, these are the main characters, make them.
Here we go. It's Picard, Kirk, and Spock for the 50th time.
Yeah.
Like Nacelle have said they're making those figures, but they're later down the lines,
Yeah.
I think. And like that's perfectly fine. People are still going to want those figures. It's like when we look at the cargo bay for our merchandise, we're stocking rare merch and things like that, but we're still stocking things people actually want as well. Sometimes people are going to want a Funko Pop Spock. There's nothing wrong with that, because people enjoy those things. Like, it's
Yeah.
not, personally, Funkos aren't my cup of tea, but I recognize people out there do actually really enjoy them and want to collect them. If we can help people do that, more power to them.
Yeah.
In terms of figures I want, it's a different one. If it's Enterprise, a Phlox one would be nice. Because I know Art Asylum did a range of Star Trek Enterprise figures. I've got two down here somewhere. But I don't think they did a Dr. Phlox one.
No.
So,
And then you
yeah.
have a little changeable head, so you can have him with like the really big
Yes.
smile, and then a normal one.
The smile head would be hilarious. But also, it's like, I'd love a Captain Hernandez figure, because she
Mhm.
was great. I wish we'd see more of her and the NXO2. That would have been great.
Yeah. I think that the Star Trek Destiny series of novels follows
It does,
kind
yeah.
of what happened there, doesn't it? Yeah. So
It's
that's
a great storyline. I recommend people, if they've not explored the Star Trek books, you need to go and do that, because while we're waiting for whatever Paramount wants to do next with Star Trek, there is an entire universe, literally, of other Star Trek material people can read. Like, just throw yourself into that. Doesn't matter if you start in the Enterprise era, Next Gen, or anything else. Like, there's some fantastic stories by really talented authors.
Yeah.
The DS9 Avatar stuff. Oh,
okay. Oh, haven't got to that. Well, this is that. I mean, that's been the curse, the blessing and curse of this show, is I've been, recommended so many really good books, but that's a lot of books.
yeah.
And I
When
find
do you find
myself,
the time? Like,
yeah. And, well, I have just like what I call now my pile of shame, and it is just stacked of.
I know I've got the same over there as well.
I mean, I can like, this is just a few on the on the side,
Nice.
and then
Even
then
like the
there's
Star Trek Voyager series, I think it's a full circle fleet. That series is amazing as well. Like, so much there.
You mean this one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just everywhere I reach now, there is a Trekommendation nearby,
Love
and
it.
apparently now soon there's going to have to be some Nacelle figures, because
Oh yeah.
that's been the next one of the currently existing figures. What are kind of, let's go, your top three gets?
So mine would have to be the captains. So Jellicoe, Garrett, and Sulu. Those are my top three. I love the uniforms, particularly the undiscovered country era. I guess for maroon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like those. And the accessories that we just did our unboxing, I want to say last week. It should be up this week on the Trek Central channel. The accessories they have, amazing. And especially with Garrett, where you get like the other head where she's dead. I'm like, really odd choice, but okay. Like,
Well, I think as well now, I guess people use collectibles and figures in different ways to then
Yeah.
sort of how they use it, and they like to, do photography of their, and like create scenes and things like that, and which actually, if anybody knows what's happened to Trek stop motion, that would be nice. I don't know if you saw any of it. There was somebody making some really great like stop motion videos in Star Trek, and they've sort of disappeared. And I
I've
know
not
some,
actually seen that. I'm gonna have to have a search afterwards, but
yeah,
sounds cool.
and I've sent a few, and we chat a little bit, and so would somebody else, and they messaged me asking if I'd heard anything, and I'm like, I've not heard anything from him, and then I sent a message, and I've still not heard anything, so I hope he's all right. But
Hopefully.
doing some really, I'm sure he'd posted about the Nacelle stuff as well, because obviously, like, more figures, more convenient for making
Definitely.
these kind of things. But yeah, I guess now more than ever, detail is really important.
Definitely.
Posability is, how kind of articulated are these figures and
They're
things?
quite. I'm doing the sales PR job now. They
Yeah.
are quite like.
Well, you've come on
articulated,
to recommend it. Like,
I know. I think my only criticism is like some of them, like I feel like you can't make them sit down like in a chair.
and that's what a captain needs to do.
Yeah, I'm like, it depends on the pose of a chair. I know Nacelle are making a bridge, a TOS bridge, so you can have Jellicoe on it. It's a holodeck recreation, whatever.
Yeah.
The heads like articulate really well, like those twist around. The arms, you can get them in like different poses and such. Like you can imagine Jellicoe's there giving orders, telling Riker, he's a brick, job done. So like there's plenty of options of what you can do there. He's gonna fall over, but oh well.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm just looking if I've got space.
Well, we know where you can get them for a good
I
shipping
know where
price,
I can get them. Yeah. I mean, you're very close. I'll just drive down. That's
basically the first order of the figures. So we had them delivered to our warehouse, which is great. And then we was like, okay, we won't promote it just yet. We'll make sure we got the site ready. And we added a stock to it, and like we had this alert thing on the cargo bay, and this is a good little promo. If you see an item on there and it's not in stock, you can put your email in, and it'll alert you when it's available. As soon as we put them in stock, somebody ordered all 8 immediately. I was like,
really,
wow, I was not expecting that. I was like, literally, somebody must have been waiting and waiting for this. And that was crazy, to be fair. So people are keen for these.
Well, again, I think that's, it is good, isn't it? It shows that. I mean, actually, Ed, that we mentioned earlier, I think he did a giveaway for the set, and he was like, "I doing a giveaway," and he was like, "But it's only to the US."
Yeah,
and I'm sure there are people that I mean, we've been talking recently about the kind of the UK community and UK events and things like that. And and you've also talked about the idea that we should have maybe more UK events.
The
So
event space is definitely interesting. One of our goals is to take the Cargo Bay to a Comic Con event. I want to be there. I want to be meeting the community, listening to them as well. Because
yeah,
as much as we talk about how it's important for Nacelle and the likes of them to listen to the community, when we run the Cargo Bay, but also Trek Central, it's important we listen to the community as well. I want to know what products people want. If they want Factory Entertainment's Batleth and the Foams or Dark Targ Sword or knife, like, tell us, we'll get it. Like, stuff like that. I want to know what people want. But yeah, one of our goals is to get to some Comic Cons ASAP. If we put it off this year, I'll be very happy. But given the way things move around the world, like some of these events, you have to sign like now for like October, and like pay a lot of money, and that's just like to book the space. Then you've got to obviously get the staff, the stock, the crew, your booth designs. Is a lot of money to then make back. For a small business, quite difficult. So we might start targeting some local conventions. There's a couple here in Wales, in Cardiff and such, and like there's a few in Newport. So we're looking at those because those have good Star Trek turnouts. There's also Comic Cons in like Telford, for example. Some other ones like in Birmingham. So we're looking to go to those maybe before we approach London, because also we recognize not every fan is going to be able to make it to London. That's quite expensive for just a consumer. So yeah, I'm really hoping we can do that soon, so we can bring the likes of those Nacelle figures, the War figure, the sort of cherry tree items like the fantastic mug, so we can bring those to more people. Yeah, that's kind of one of our key goals at the minute, is to basically connect with the community.
Yeah, and I suppose it's as well like you're not making lots of money off of these sales because they're not your products. So you think about a vendor who is buying a booth, but that's so they can sell their product, and they're netting the profit from the product. Then they cover the expenses of being there, or maybe and also getting their name out there and establishing relationships and all of the other stuff as well. But you're kind of only getting that second part, and then
basically
covering the costs.
And like, just to we've not done the Cargo Bay to make millions and buy a yacht next year. It's basically always been much like when we established Trek Central. It is to help the Star Trek community and eventually the wider sci-fi community. Like, I'm aware there's Stargate fans. I'm a big fan of Stargate. I've always got the necklace on. Who need some merchandise help there as well. Again, they're in a similar situation where only available in the US. Star Wars has got a similar thing. Battlestar, all these franchises. If we can become a hub for this, even better.
Yeah, and I mean, and that is like the good thing as well. It's funny, isn't it? Because there's always that idea. I mean, it's with everything. It's like you're either Marvel or DC, and you're like, no, you're not. Like, these people are reading everything. They're watching all the movies. They like, no one is, picketing one because you can't possibly get that because you've got to be pure blood Marvel or DC. And it's just, like, we all watch Star Wars, we all watch Star Trek, we watch like if you like sci-fi, now you might prefer one over the other, absolutely. I'd be like, I'm a bit more cerebral, and I find Star Trek kind of scratches that itch a little bit more than Wizards in Space, as you said earlier.
I think they all tick different boxes sometimes, I think.
Yeah.
Like, if I want massive space battles, I'll probably go to Star Wars. If I want really sort of like, I guess, thought-provoking stuff, I'll mainly go towards Star Trek. That's not saying the other can't do that, because Star Trek's got massive space battles. The Dominion War for DS9, one of my all-time favorite story arcs. But just in the same vein, the Clone Wars from Star Wars, I grew up with that. Like, that's one of my all-time favorite things as well.
Yeah.
I like many other sci-fis. My entire shelves behind me here display all the sci-fis I'm into. There's Stargate there. There's a ship from Foundation, which is an Apple TV series. If people haven't watched that, really recommend that. Just beautiful sci-fi all around. Like, if you limit yourself to one thing, I really think you are just, doing yourself a disservice, because there's so much great sci-fi out there. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then thinking to your, I say business or venture, as you said, it's not a money-making scheme, but spreading broader and having, not being like, we're the Cargo Bay and we're only doing Star Trek collectibles. Like, that would be great. Like, it would help you, but having a wider reach will just, enable it to kind of function faster, and then you will have those possibilities to kind of get to, and I'm again, we cross-pollinate, right? So somebody's like, oh, where did you get that amazing Star Wars collectible from? Oh, I got it off this website that gets stuff from the US. And then, oh, do they have Star Trek stuff? Yeah, of course they do. Bang, there you go. You find it. So it all helps, doesn't it? Community can kind of help each other, but then also
the Star Wars community is massive here in the UK. I go to Comic Cons, people are always selling my Black Series figures and vintage things, lightsaber replicas and such. So it makes sense that, like, we do these other things. Even Fallout, like that's a good sort of sci-fi-ish
Yeah.
series. I'd love to like do some merchandise on because it looks amazing.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. I was at a Comic Con in Bristol, and I saw a incredible Kira Nerys cosplay,
Nice.
and her husband was in a Fallout kind of jumpsuit thing. So I guess if you're passionate about one thing, you're probably passionate about many things, aren't you? So it does make sense. When is the Newport Comic Con? Do you know off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, I can't remember.
Do you know
I'll
where
have
it is?
yeah.
Is it at
It's ICC usually, I
the
think.
ICC? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's like
I
an
can't remember
hour's
when it
drive.
is.
That's
I'll have to double check later. Remind me after this, and we'll have a look.
Yeah.
Because we're looking at that. We've actually got a secret project we've not announced yet.
secret project.
I can't tell you just yet because we want to announce it hopefully the end of this month. But it would really aid what we're doing for conventions. I will show you off air once we're done with this because you'll love it.
Very good. And then nobody pester me. Don't you dare
Yeah.
send me.
Hopefully, if all goes to plan, we should announce it at the end of the month. If you come and see us at MCM Comic Con, which is next week, not this weekend, next weekend, so the 23rd, I think. We may show it there on like a screen. But I've not decided yet. If not, week after, we should be good.
Cool, nice. Yeah, well, I'm hoping then to because the fact that you mentioned there's quite a good few stuff, because this is a trouble with, obviously you've got your your destination and your warp to whatever it is, and it's Star Trek focused. But especially if I like to, because I quite like to make a day of it and take the kids as well.
Yeah.
And as much as I've been getting my son to watch Star Trek, and he has a nice lower decks uniform that he wore last time, they're also big into Pokemon and just other all the other kind of comic-y stuff that you get at Comic Cons as well. But for me as well, I'm like, well, if I'm going there, I want to make sure there is some Star Trek stuff so I can do my little Trekommendations live from the floor and all of that kind of stuff. And sometimes you go and there is nothing. You're like, there's not a single there's not a Spock in sight.
It does feel like Star Trek's declining a little bit. And people may shoot me for saying that. However, I feel like it unfortunately is a little bit true. One of our objectives of Trek Central is to basically keep the spirit of Star Trek alive. And that reveal or secret project I spoke about will hopefully help that. I can't wait to show it off when it does, because it's basically for Star Trek fans, but for everyone as well. And it carries the message of Star Trek, and the I guess iconography of it is the word I'd use, or like the visuals of it. It's physical. People can take part in it. I love it.
Okay, well, enough. Don't reveal any more now.
Just teasing.
Yeah. People are getting upset. They're screaming at their phones or screens or whatever. Jack, just tell us. Okay, this has been an excellent recommendation. What I like about it is that now, if you're in the US, head to Nacelle's website. You can get all the stuff there. If you're, I would ask this, and if so obviously you're based in the UK. If I'm in Europe, I know like Germany's got a massive conventions and stuff going on there. Is it going to be better off for them trying to get stuff from you? Or do you reckon they'll be better?
For a minute, full transparency, we're not shipping outside the UK currently. And the only reason before this is brand new business. We want to make sure we're just getting everything right and handling our shipping correctly. Essentially, we want to make sure if you buy a figure, it actually gets there. Yes. So we're just doing UK for the first couple of months. Hopefully by summer, so July, August, we should be ready to start shipping to the EU. Due to the Brexit situation in the UK, it has become more difficult for small businesses to ship into the EU. And one of the reasons why this is tax now plays a thing, and VAT and such like that. Yeah. One of the issues is the VAT either gets added to the customer. So say, Jason, you're in Germany, you buy a figure from us, you've bought it at $30 for argument's sake, or £30. You may end up paying £40 by the time it gets to you, because you've got to pay that £10 tax essentially, right, or £5 shipping, £5 tax. So there's debates of whether we handle it as a business, or if that then eats into our costs. There's a big sort of thing we need to analyze as a company. And I hate saying make it profitable, because it makes it sound like we're dancing around with bags of money over here. That's not the case. It's ensuring we can turn the lights on and still do these things. So yeah, we're still sort of exploring that and looking into it at the minute. I do want to offer EU shipping as soon as possible. That does include Ireland as well. We do the Northern Ireland right now, but mainland Ireland, it also is in that sort of weird caveat area, unfortunately. Yeah. But yeah, as soon as we can do it, we'll make a big song and dance about it, because again, it is part of our mission of supporting the community, no matter where they are,
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad I asked. So
Yeah, of
what
course.
I'm hearing is, if you're in the US, go to Nacelle.
Yep.
If you're in Europe, begrudgingly go to Nacelle,
There also might be some
wishing
other
that.
like dealers as well
Yeah.
in Europe. Honestly, I do not know
No.
of any off the top of my head. But I'm sure if people search around. I do know of an EU wholesaler, but they're
Yeah.
trade to trade sort of customers. But I presume they're supplying somebody in at least mainland Europe. So
Oh yeah. But if you're in the UK and you want to get these, or I mean, while we've got you, you've shown us a mug as well. It would be remiss not to kind of plug a few other things that
I've got
you've
some
got
fun things to
available.
show you.
Okay, let's
So
have a
we've
go.
also partnered up with Cherry Tree, who makes some fantastic Star Trek items, including the spaceport mug. We call it a spaceport mug. Specifically, it is a spaceport mug, nothing else. That also comes in a range of colors. We should have more stock on the way for those very soon. But also, we've got Klingon keyboards. So if you want to do Star Trek in Klingon, you can have one of these. And this is entirely in the Klingon language. This is made by Cherry Tree, officially licensed Star Trek. It's also a collaboration with the Klingon Language Institute. And if I open the box, you might be able to see it. There's also a mouse as well. So if you want a USB mouse, you can do that one. I won't get it out of the box as it's new, but you can see it there.
Oh wow.
And for the audio listeners, basically, it's a lovely painted Star Trek Klingon keyboard, and all the words are actually in the Klingon language. I personally love the arrow keys, as they are like the Ducktag knives,
Yeah.
which we see Worf use on many occasion.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
collectible I want, by the way. That's
It's
always
amazing. Speaking of like PC accessories as well, I've got one more thing to show you. This is to upgrade your desk setup. So we've also got mouse pads. So
Oh, that's nice. So again, for those listening, it's a beautiful red on black Klingon bird of prey, Klingon Empire, Klingon script there as well. Just yes. So any
that's
any
also
Klingons
available.
listening, there's lots of good stuff for you.
Yeah, and there's a USB mouse as well. The keyboard comes in two finishes. There's an unpainted one if you just fancy a black keyboard. Maybe it's you're in an office setup and you don't want to be too OTT or something like that. You've got those, same with the USB mouse, or you've got the arguably the better looking painted finish one. Both these are available on the website as of right now. We've also got a range of mouse pads. With Klingon one, I believe we've got some Defiant ones, and also an LCARS one, which lights up like an LED one. I believe there's also a Star Trek Voyager one. We've got limited stock of that one at the minute. So if you want a Voyager one, act fast. It looks amazing. Like I want it. Unfortunately, I don't have it. So
No. I mean, well, you know where you should go if you want to get.
I know that one might go missing from the warehouse. So
The non-painted keyboard is still full Klingon.
still full Klingon language, yeah.
I love the idea of being like, I'm in an office. I need to be a little bit more subtle.
Yep.
None of my colleagues can use my keyboard because they lose their minds. But it would be a little bit over the top if it was painted as well, wouldn't it? Okay, very good. With that, then let's move into the final portion of the show, that is incoming transmissions.
Incoming transmission.
So, Jason, I've got something I'd love to give to your listeners and viewers, and also your social media followers. Now, obviously, DS9, also one of my favorite series as well, particularly for Dominion War arc, and also we get Mr. Worf. So, we're giving away to your lovely audience and community one of these fantastic QMX Mr. Worf figures. If I open the box here, and audio listeners, you can't see this unfortunately, but you can find one of these on the website if you do want to take a look at it. It's got Mr. Worf with the Klingon Batleth in a sort of very heroic sort of Klingon, I'm probably going to kill you pose. And yeah, like it comes in a nice little display box. So again, like we said earlier, you can just keep it in the packaging if you want, or you can get them out. You can stick them on the desk. There's a couple of views on there. And yeah, so if people want to enter this, we're going to include a link on the Trekommendations socials. And you can basically go and click a couple of options there. You can also check out the cargo bay, check out more of the podcast episodes. And yeah, and enter. I think in probably a week or so, once this episode comes out, once you've entered, we'll draw the winner, we'll ship it to you, and away you go.
Look at that. This is the first time the incoming transmission has come from within the house, but it's good. It's good. Well, excellent. Well, thank you so much for doing that. And yeah, if you're listening to this now, if you're listening to this now, I'm trying to think. You have as much time. Yeah, if you're listening to this now, this will have gone live. This episode goes live usually at like 1 a.m. in the UK. So it will have gone live 1 a.m. Monday. So if you're in, this is UK only, I'm guessing then.
Probably, yeah. Probably we'll only
Yeah,
do
yeah.
UK only for
So
this one.
sorry,
Yeah.
sorry if you've got on this early because you're in America and you've been able to listen to it before going to bed. If you're listening to this the day it comes out, head over to the socials and you'll find everything there as well. If you're listening to this a few weeks later, I'm so sorry. You probably should have been listening earlier. But
But if you do want one of the figures, there's probably one still in stock. You know, if you were
yes,
listening this a week later, so go get them. They're a great price. Again, it's a great sort of decorational sort of thing for the desk. I think any collector will love them as well. So
excellent. Well, what a positive note to end on. Thank you for that. So thank you for coming on. Thank you for
of
recommending
course,
Nacelle, because I feel like I've been dancing around Nacelle for a little while with
you
other
should
people
totally
talking
get
about
Brian on
them.
the show. Like he's
I do
lovely.
want to get Brian on the
Recommend
show.
it.
Because I think Ed came and talked about the Center Seat documentary that
Yeah.
was also done by Nacelle. So like Nacelle have popped up and been tagged in things and shared stuff. So, I'm gently courting around Nacelle and Brian, and I will be sending him a message very soon to say, right, come on and plug something. Something else, something that you like in Star
Get
Trek.
him talking about the bridge and his favorite figures and episodes. Oh, Brian can talk for ages. He's lovely. I always love catching up with Brian. Yeah, really sounded really passionate.
Okay, right. Well, that's a call to action for me. Call
Yep.
to action for anyone else listening to this is, Jack. We've talked a lot about the cargo bay, which is good because it's one of the things I suppose that has a practical application for listeners more so than just being like another thing to follow.
Mm.
But you're probably better known at the moment for Trek Central. So if people want to kind of keep up to date with what you're doing, different projects, things like that, do you want to give them the little spiel, the plugs, tell people where they should go, what they
Yeah,
should
of
be doing?
course. So Trek Central exists to keep the Star Trek community, no matter where you are, informed. And also our objective is no matter if you've been a fan for 5 seconds or 50 years or 60 years at this point, we exist there to keep you entertained, informed, educated about the Star Trek universe. Not everyone knows the ins and outs of the Enterprise's warp core. If we can help you learn about that, we've got a lovely video about warp drives coming soon. But also, many, many discussions, reviews, the latest news, all of that. And yeah, just keeping a nice, friendly space for Star Trek fans, and also keeping accurate news. Unfortunately, I see a lot of AI generated news at the minute from outlets. So yeah, we're doing none of that. We're reporting accurate stories. Yeah, support independent journalism. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, what is going on with that? The
It's doing
number
my
of
head in.
things
You're
I
going to get a
see.
rant at me now.
Well, let's end on this then, yeah, because I will be scrolling and seeing like stuff that just makes no. It's just not logical.
I've been taking screenshots of this. I've got my phone in front of me at the minute, and I keep seeing it because I'm preparing to do like a video on it. I saw a post yesterday, so it was 6 hours ago, and it's like an AI generated image of Mary Wiseman, the great Mary Wiseman, who plays Tilly in Discovery and Academy. And the post goes, Star Trek Starfleet Academy Tilly rumors need official confirmation first. And the post is 6 hours ago. I'm like, that's not a rumor. The show aired about 3-4 weeks ago now, if not longer. Academy ceased. Yeah. I'm like, this is just clickbait. And then I saw another one 5 hours ago where it's Patrick Stewart channels Picard in futuristic Met Gala tribute. So Patrick Stewart wasn't at the Met Gala, so it's clearly an AI generated image, and it all just serves for like just engagement baiting and things like that. With Facebook pages, you can generate revenue on them if you've got enough followers, enough engagement. So for full transparency, the Trek Central page does generate revenue. Again, it's not a massive amount. It helps us pay our website bills, if I'm being completely honest. We're not sailing around on a super yacht anytime soon. Still the train for me. So I think these pages are generating enough of this sort of stuff here where people are going to argue in the comments, they're going to debate it so they can bring up engagement. All those views, it pays pennies, but eventually turn to pounds, hundreds of pounds, thousands of pounds. Away you go. It is disappointing to see the fandom fall into this, but it's not just Star Trek. It's spreading through Marvel, Star Wars, Stargate, all of this stuff. And unfortunately, people are falling through it, which is just disappointing. But, it also spreads to the political spectrum.
Yeah, and it generates a lot of rage because they're deliberately putting in things too that it's never like a nice topic. It's never just hey, here's a really positive Star Trek thing. It's always going to be something they know is controversial. And then while that's fake and it's AI generated and that's all fake, the people in the comments that are screaming and shouting at each other are real.
Yeah.
And it's not helping. It's just, and
I can't blame people for like being unaware of something being AI, because I've spent enough time online, probably too much time. It's very easy for me to spot what is AI these days. But I feel like the casual person, if I walked out my front door now and asked somebody, is this AI real? They wouldn't know. And there's no shame in that if you're not chronically online, like probably I am and a few others. So yeah, it's just disappointing. I will say, if you're seeing news reported, check it's from a good source. And I don't just mean Trek Central. I also mean people like Trek Movie, plenty of other sources over Trek Newsnet. It may feel odd me suggesting what is essentially, I hate using the word rival, but opposition sites to us essentially. But there are other sources out there. You don't just have to come to us. If you're seeing news reported, double check sources. Because it's so important. And this doesn't just apply to Star Trek. It applies to numerous things in this day and age.
Yeah, and even I was going to say like real life things.
Yeah.
Obviously, like Star Trek, like shows being made of things is real, but ultimately, if your favorite show gets made or not, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to affect your daily life to that degree. But there is like real life events and stuff that people are getting angry about that you're like, that's not even true. You're
I
getting
saw this
angry.
recently, and I don't want to dive into sort of going off topic, but like I like politics myself. Like I enjoy it. I live here in Wales. We've just had our local elections, but like the fake news you see around stuff like that is honestly shocking sometimes. And I'm like 2 minutes of research would solve this entire debate, So
Yeah, one human conversation. That's all.
literally that. If more people actually spoke to each other in person, I think things would be a lot better. But that goes back into my point earlier about events we spoke about, like Comic Cons, when we can meet Star Trek fans in person. The difference of interacting with Star Trek fans events in person to how you see interactions on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook is leagues apart from each other. Like some of my favorite interactions have been with Star Trek fans at New York Comic Con, MCM Comic Con, the former destination Star Trek places. Yeah, it's amazing. If you've not been to an event like that, go to it, meet fans, meet the community, meet the actual people who are loving these shows. You'll enjoy it. It's much better than a conversation on Twitter, I'll be honest. So.
Yes, absolutely. If you're going to it takes no effort to tap away on a screen, but it requires effort to get somewhere. You've got to really want to be there, and they're generally the nicer people. Well, thank you again, Captain Jack. Thank you everybody for listening. As we said, if you want to be involved in the giveaway, make sure you head over to the socials, or any of my socials. There's Trekommendations and everything, so it's pretty easy to find, and all the details will be there as well. And of course, I will be back next week with another guest and another Trekommendation.
Ending program.